Hello friends, I am Ajit. Today I am going to discuss the topic Introduction to Thyristors. Now, what do you mean by actually thyristors? Now, thyristor is not a name of a single device, it is the name of a family of semiconductor devices which is used to control the power in DC and AC system. Uh, this is the name of a family in which some components like SCR, TRIAC, DAC, UJT, etc. are covered, and these are used to control power in DC and AC system. Now, what is the meaning of control of power in DC and AC system? Like we want to control the speed, we want to control the speed of DC motor or AC motor or like any other load. We use the semiconductor devices to control the power which is being fed to these machines. So that power is controlled by using thyristor devices. Like you are using a fan regulator in your home. That fan regulator is basically uses basically a thyristor, which is a triac. So the thing which is to be cleared is that thyristor is not a single device; it is a family of devices, and many components are covered in this thyristor. So, the what are the different components? These are the SCR, TRIAC, DIAC, silicon control switch, programmable unit transistor, UJT, etc. Many more devices are there which are covered in this family. So, this is the name of family, not a single device. So, now SCR is the main component which is used in thyristor, and SCR is so widely used in different applications. The name thyristor is sometimes used for denoting the SCR only. So if we say thyristor, that name may be used for SCR, because SCR is so widely used. We use the name thyristor for SCRs. Now, from where this name comes from, the thyristor. Actually, before the invention of these semiconductor devices, vacuum tubes were used, and in vacuum tubes there was a component called thyratron. There was a component called thyratron. This thyratron was having the characteristics similar to thyristors. So, and thyristors were made with the technology used in transistors, that is semiconductor technology, that is solid state technology. So, combining the thyratron and transistor, this name was derived from thyratron. This the beginning of the name was taken TH by R, and from the transistor, the end of the component, this family was used. The name of family was used ISTOR. So combining these two, thyratron and transistor, it becomes thyristors. So the name comes from the thyratron and transistor. Now, what components are covered in thyristor? Thyristors are having thyristor devices are having three or more PN junctions. So most of the, there are some exceptions also, but most of the components used in thyristor are having three or more PN junctions. Now UJT is exception in this. UJT is thyristor device, but it is having only one junction. So, but most of the components or devices used in thyristor are having three or more PN junctions. Now, what are the other characteristics? It should have one on and one off state. Basically, these thyristors are used for switching on and off the power. These are used for switching on and off the power. So, the thyristor, the devices which are covered in thyristor should have two stable states, that is on state and off state, and we should be able to switch from one state to another by using these components. Now, the basic component which is most likely you will be using is SCR. The SCR is a component which can handle a lot of power. So, what is the construction of SCR? You can see here. The SCR is four layer device. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. P, N, P, N. This is a four layer device which forms three junctions, 1, 2, 3, J1, J2, J3. This P and forms one junction, J1. This N and P forms another junction, J2. And this P and N forms third junction, that is J3. So it is four layer device with three junctions. there are three terminals: anode, cathode, and gate. So this is SCR. This is the construction of SCR. This is the simplified form of SCR, the constructional view of SCR, but practically these SCRs can have different shapes. So one type of shape is this. This is the shape of stud. So it can be in the form of a stud or any other shape also. It can be of any other shape also, but it can be in the shape of stud or any other shape. But basically it contains these four layers and three junctions. And this is the symbol of this SCR. This is the symbol of SCR. Now if you forget this gate, now in this symbol you can compare this symbol with symbol of diode. The only difference you will see is only of this gate. Now if you forget this gate, now you will see that it is basically a diode. Now what is the function of gate then? Gate provides the control uh, property in this SCR. You can control the power by using the gate signal. This is the only difference in the diode and SCR. Working of the construction is different, but working of diode and SCR is the only this difference is only this gate. If you forget this gate, it is a diode. Now this by giving the gate signal to this SCR, you can control the output voltage or control the power which is being fed to the different devices. Now these are the practical SCRs or thyristors. Many type of thyristor can have these type of designs. So these are the practical designs of SCRs. You can see these designs in market. These are available. Now these are another designs which are available for the different thyristors. These can be your triacs. These can be SCRs and other components. So there can be many type of designs. There is no single design, not a single design. So what is the working of this SCR? Now we are going toward the trying to understand the working of these SCRs. So this is a four-layer device, PN. This is a four-layer device. Three terminals are there: anode, cathode, and gate. Now let us start. Uh, Let us bias this SCR. I am going to forward bias this SCR by using a variable power source. So if we connect a variable voltage source in series with some current limiting resistor, and I connect these two things like this. This is a variable voltage source. Now anode is positive and cathode is negative. Now gate is left open. For now gate is left open. Now what will happen then? Now this positive terminal is connected to p-type semiconductor and negative comes from here, and this n-type semiconductor is having negative. So this p-n junction is forward bias. We can say this p-n junction is forward bias. Junction J1 is forward bias. Similarly, if we see junction J2, you can see the positive supply is coming from this upper terminal or anode terminal, negative supply is coming from lower terminal to this p-type semiconductor, positive to this n-type semiconductor. You can see this junction J2 is reverse biased. This junction is reverse biased because positive terminal is coming to this n-type semiconductor and negative terminal is connected to this p-type semiconductor. So this junction J2 is reverse biased. Similarly, you can see negative terminal is connected to n-type semiconductor, this layer of n-type semiconductor, and positive is coming from here to this this layer of p-type semiconductor. So this J3 is again forward biased. So we can say that J1 and J3 are forward biased. J1 and J3 are forward biased, but junction J2 is reverse biased. Now that means this SCR will not conduct because this junction is still reverse biased. You have forward biased the anode and cathode terminals, but because junction J2 is still reverse biased, it will not conduct the current. So no current will flow through this load. This is the load. No current will flow, but still some leakage current will flow through this load. Only the leakage, very small leakage current will flow through the load. So this SCR will behave like high impedance. or you can say it will behave like an open switch. The switch is open, so no current is flowing through this load. Now what will happen if you go on increasing this voltage? You go on increase. Now I am going to increase this voltage from this source. Now you go on increasing this voltage. Now what will happen? Now every junction, reverse bias junction, has some depletion layer across it. When you go on increasing the voltage across the reverse bias junction, the depletion layer goes on increasing. Depletion layer, width of depletion layer goes on increasing, but there is a limit of every depletion layer to bear some voltage. After a particular amount of voltage, this reverse bias junction J2 will get breakdown due to avalanche breakdown. There is one phenomena called avalanche breakdown. Due to avalanche breakdown, this junction J2 will get breakdown. Now when this junction J2 gets breakdown, means now there does not exist any junction here. There is no depletion layer here actually. There is no depletion layer here now. Now these two junctions J1 and J3 were already forward biased. Now junction J2 has vanished, has gone. So this SCR will start conducting. Means a heavy current will flow. Now heavy current will flow from anode to cathode, because these junctions J1 and J3 are forward biased and junction J2 has vanished. There is no junction J2 now. It has breakdown. It has broke down. So the heavy current will flow from anode to cathode. So a load current, a heavy load current, which will be only limited by this external resistance, or impedance. So the current IA, we can say it is a current IA. The current IA will only be limited by this external impedance R or resistance R. So we can say that this transistor has started conducting. Now it will behave like a closed switch. Okay. Now this is the now the voltage at which this breakdown of junction J2 occurs is called forward breakover voltage, and we denote it by VBO, forward breakover voltage, VBO. तो जब हम वोल्टेज को बढ़ाते जाएंगे, एक लेवल ऑफ वोल्टेज पे जाके एक अमाउंट ऑफ वोल्टेज दैट इज इक्वल टू फॉरवर्ड ब्रेकओवर वोल्टेज VPO, दिस जंक्शन J2, ये जंक्शन J2 जो ब्रेकडाउन हो जाएगा और ये SCR आपका स्टार्ट कर जाएगा कंडक्ट करना, और हैवी करंट फ्लो करेगा थ्रू दिस SCR, और लोड करंट इसमें से करंट फ्लो करेगा इस एक्सटर्नल लोड में से. सो दिस वाज the case when you have not connected any gate supply. You have not connected any gate supply. ठीक है. So now there may be another case when we connect. I again connect this supply at this anode cathode junction and anode cathode terminals, between anode and cathode terminals. Why? But give me 2 minutes. Now I have connected this supply again. This is variable voltage supply and this is same resistance R. Now I have also forward biased this gate terminal also. Now I have connected a variable voltage source across this gate to cathode terminals. Now I have connected this voltage across anode and cathode terminal which is less than VBO. We discussed that term VBO, that is forward breakover voltage. Now this voltage connected across this anode and cathode junction, anode cathode terminal, is less than VBO. Means it cannot turn on the thyristor without the gate current. It cannot turn on the SCR, or J2 cannot be broken, broke down. This junction J2 cannot be broken down at this voltage because this voltage is less than the forward breakover voltage. Now what will happen when we connect this gate supply, the supply across the gate and cathode terminal, a current will flow between cathode and gate. A gate current will flow between gate and cathode. Now this p-type layer here, this p-type layer, this p-type layer is lightly doped. Please understand this thing. This p-type layer is lightly doped as compared to this n-type layer. N-type layer is highly doped. Now what will happen? The majority carriers in p-type semiconductors are holes. These are holes. The holes will move from p-type semiconductor to p-type layer to n-type layer, and electrons. These electrons will move from n-type semiconductor to p-type layer, n-type layer to p-type layer. But as the this p-type layer is lightly doped, small number of holes will go to n-type layer. But as the n-type layer is highly doped, a large amount of electron will reach this p-type layer. You understand? Because it is lightly doped, small amount of holes will go to this n-type layer, but due to heavily doped n layer, large amount of electrons will cross this J3 junction and reach this p layer. Now this J2 junction, which is reverse bias junction, it will help these electrons to cross this junction, because these electrons are minority carriers in p-type layer. These electrons are minority carriers in this p-type layer. Now reverse bias junction helps the minority carriers to cross through it. This reverse bias junction helps minority carriers to cross through it. So large amount of electrons will cross through this junction J2. Now when large amount of charge carriers move through this junction ultimately gets breakdown. This junction ultimately gets breakdown, because when there is large movement of charge carrier, junctions uh, vanishes. Junction ultimately get vanished. So with this application of gate current and movement of these electrons through this reverse bias junction, this junction ultimately gets vanished, and a large amount of anode current flows through this SCR. Anode current means anode to cathode current. So large amount of current will pass through this resistance. So we can say that the SCR has now turned on. Now it will behave like a closed switch. Before the application of this gate current, the SCR was not conducting. It was blocking the current. It was working in forward blocking mode. Forward voltage was there, but it was blocking the current. It was not allowing the current to pass through it. But with application of gate current, the SCRs begin to conduct. SCR begin to conduct, and anode to cathode current flows. A large amount of anode to cathode current flows through it. So large amount of current flows through the resistance, and the current is only limited by the amount of this resistance connected in series here. The large amount of, you can see here, this resistance R. The current is only limited by this resistance R. So we can say that the SCR has turned on. So this is the method which is used usually to turn on the SCRs at lower input voltage. Now this voltage, applied voltage, was less than forward breakover voltage. So with application of gate current, you can turn on the SCR at lower anode voltages. Lower anode voltages के ऊपर you can turn on the SCR. Now if I further increase this voltage, now from here, this is variable voltage source, I further increase the voltage across the gate, the amount of gate current flowing between gate and cathode will increase. More number of charge carriers will pass through this junction J2. So this junction J2 will break down at even lower anode voltage, at even lower anode voltage. So by regulating the gate current, I can make this SCR to conduct at my desired amount of anode voltage. So By controlling the gate current, I can make the SCR to conduct at lower anode voltages. So this is a function of gate. So by using the gate, I can make the SCR to turn on at lower voltages. So this was all about the working in forward direction. Now what will happen in reverse direction? We can see that too. Now in reverse direction, I connect this anode to reverse voltage. Now I have connected this anode to negative and cathode to positive, and this is external resistance R, and this is also a variable voltage. Now gate is not used in this reverse direction because it is not normal working mode of this SCR. Will not be used. So this negative terminal is connected to this P and positive is connected to this N. This junction J1 will be reverse bias because negative is here and positive is here. P is connected to negative, N is connected to positive. This junction will be reverse biased. Similarly, this junction J2, this negative is connected to this N terminal and this positive is connected to this P terminal. This positive is connected to this P terminal. So this junction J2 will be forward biased. Now similarly, this negative is connected to this P layer and positive is connected to this N layer. So this junction J3 will be reverse biased. We can see that here junction J1 and J3 are reverse biased, but junction J2 is forward biased. So the SCR will not conduct in reverse direction because two of the junctions out of three, two of the junctions are not conducting, they are reverse biased. Only junction J2 is forward biased. So no current will flow through this resistance, only leakage current will flow. Small amount of reverse leakage current will flow through this resistance, this load resistance. Now if similarly, which was in forward biasing mode, if I go on increasing this voltage, this the depletion layer of junction J1 and J3 will go on widening by increasing the voltage applied across anode to cathode, reverse voltage applied across anode to cathode. The depletion layer कैसी होती है, देखो इस तरह से डिप्लीशन लेयर बनती है इन दोनों के बीच में. कोई भी आप सेमीकंडक्टर आप डिवाइस यूज करते हो, रिवर्स बायस करोगे उसको, देन देयर विल बी ए वाइड डिप्लीशन लेयर. बट if you go on increasing this voltage, this depletion layer will go on widening, and at some voltage, at some amount of voltage, this depletion layer will ultimately get vanished as it will break down due to avalanche breakdown. Similarly, which was the case in forward biasing, in forward direction, ultimately these two junctions, let me erase these lines, at some voltage this junction J1 and J3 will break down due to avalanche breakdown. Now when it will break down, this junction J2 is already forward biased, a large amount of current will flow through this SCR in reverse direction. A large amount of current will flow through the SCR in reverse direction. But as that voltage will be very high at which these two these two junctions will get breakdown, and there is a large amount of leakage current flowing in this SCR, the power which is equal to V into I, the power which is equal to V into I, a large amount of power dissipation will be there in this SCR. As this voltage is very high, leakage current flowing in this SCR is very high, so large amount of power will get developed in this SCR, and that power loss may damage this SCR permanently because these SCRs are not designed to handle large amount of powers in reverse direction. So it will not be able to dissipate that heat in atmosphere, so it may get damaged. So we never make SCRs to conduct in reverse direction by avalanche breakdown. So we never make these SCRs to break down in reverse direction and conduct. So it should be avoided. It may damage the SCR permanently. Okay. Now we go further. Now the same things which we have discussed earlier are written here. These SCRs are 4-layer 3-junction devices. These are 3-terminal anode, cathode, and gate. So we have already discussed these things. Now the thing is, now important thing here is these SCRs can handle large amount of powers. These may be designed to bear the voltage rating of up to 10 kV, 10,000 volts, and these may be designed for a current rating of 3000 amperes. So when you will combine these two, you will come across the power handling capacity of 30 megawatts in these SCRs. So SCRs may be designed to handle large amount of power of the range of 30 megawatts. So these SCRs can handle a large amount of power. Now there is a difference. Now you have studied the transistors also. Transistors can basically be used for amplification of signal, as well as these can be used for switching the power in DC. Switching the power in DC also. Now these thyristors or these SCRs cannot be used for this signal amplification. These SCRs or thyristors cannot be used for signal amplification, whereas transistors can be used for signal amplification. But transistors can also be used for switching in this saturation region and cutoff region. In cutoff region, transistor acts as uh, this turn off switch, and in saturation region your transistor act as turn on switch. And similarly thyristors can act as a turn on switch or turned off switch. So these two can be used as a switching device, but there is a huge difference. Transistors cannot be used to handle this much amount of power for which these SCRs can be designed. Transistors cannot be used for this much amount of voltage and current rating. So there is a difference in SCR and thyristor. Transistor. Transistors are used for handling small amount of powers. This is the basic difference in transistor and SCR. But SCR can never be used for signal amplification, which can be amplified in transistors. Now, why SCRs are called SCRs? The full form of SCRs is silicon controlled rectifier. Now, silicon material is used for manufacture of SCRs. Why silicon material is used? Silicon is having better thermal stability as compared to other the semiconductor materials like germanium and other semiconductor materials. So SCR is used because it is having large more thermal stability as compared to other semiconductor devices. So semiconductor is this silicon is used for SCRs, for manufacture of SCRs, and these SCRs are controlled rectifiers. Why controlled rectifiers? Because it has gate and you can control the amount of power which is being fed to any load. You can control the amount of power which is being fed to load. So SCRs are controlled rectifier. The control is in your hand. You can control how much amount of power you want to provide to your load. But as you know, diodes are uncontrolled rectifiers. There is no gate terminal. When you forward bias your diode, it will conduct, it will give power to the load. But in SCR, if when you forward bias the SCR, the working of the SCR we have already discussed. and in that discussion we saw that the SCRs, when these are forward biased, they don't start conducting immediately. When you give gate signal to that SCR, the SCR starts conducting at that moment only. So SCRs are controlled rectifiers with forward biasing of SCRs only. They don't conduct. They will start conducting when you will give gate signal to these SCRs. So the control is in your hands. This is the reason why these are called controlled rectifiers. But diodes are uncontrolled rectifiers. So silicon is used for manufacture and these are controlled rectifiers. That's why these are called silicon controlled rectifier or SCR. Now we go further to these SCR characteristics. What are the characteristics of SCR? Now we are using this circuit for discussion of our SCR characteristics. You can see I have made this SCR forward bias anode between anode to cathode. I have connected this power supply and a current limiting resistor is connected in series. Voltage and voltmeter and ammeter are used to measure the current and voltage. But gate signal for the time being I have made it open. I have not connected anything to this gate circuit. Only the power is given to connected between anode and cathode. Now, as we have discussed already, what happens when we go on increasing the voltage between anode and cathode at the lower amount of voltages. Now, this is the graph between this anode voltage and anode current. Now, you go on increasing the voltage, a small amount of forward leakage current flows in the SCR. A small amount of forward leakage current. When you go on increasing the voltage, see again I am changing the voltage from this voltage source. So you go on increasing the voltage in forward direction. A small amount of forward leakage current starts flowing in the SCR. This forward leakage current go on increasing, but the amount of leakage current is still very small. So small amount of forward leakage current flows in the SCR. But at a moment when it reaches the forward breakover voltage VPO, your voltage across, now the SCR starts conducting, as we have already discussed. Junction J2 gets breakdown at this moment at forward breakover voltage. Your voltage across the SCR drops very sharply. It drops from here to here. It goes from VPO to this much voltage in no time, almost no time. So at forward breakover voltage, your voltage across the SCR drops sharply and your current in the SCR increases very steeply. You can see the current is rising steeply because junction J2 has broke down. Large amount of current starts flowing in the SCR. So current has risen sharply, but voltage has reduced to very low value. Similarly, we have already seen when we have already discussed when we connect a reverse voltage supply across the SCR, we can again see that. So this is the case. Basically I have connected reverse voltage across the SCR. This is the positive terminal connected to cathode and negative terminal is connected to anode and gate is open. So when I go on increasing this voltage, a time will come at the time at starting a very little amount of leakage current, reverse leakage current will flow in the circuit through the SCR, but this leakage current will go on increasing as I increase this voltage, and at a particular amount of voltage called reverse breakdown voltage, sorry. At reverse breakdown voltage, this junction J1 and J3 gets breakdown. So your SCR will start conducting in reverse direction. A large amount of reverse current will flow through the SCR. So these are the characteristics. This situation is shown in these characteristics. At lower reverse voltage is a small amount of reverse leakage current flows in the circuit, and this reverse leakage current goes on increasing as I increase the reverse voltage, but that reverse leakage current is still very small. But at a particular voltage called reverse breakdown voltage, this uh, SCR will start conducting as junction J1 and J3 gets breakdown. So this will start conducting. So a large amount of current will flow through the circuit, and the current will only be limited by the external resistance as we have discussed earlier. So here VBO is the forward breakover voltage, this VR is the reverse breakdown voltage, and IG gate current is 0 in this case. Still it is 0. We have not connected the gate terminal to any circuit. Now here some two currents are written here, latching current and holding current. We will discuss these two currents later on. I will come to this later on. Now there are three modes of operation of these SCRs. We can categorize the operation of these SCRs in three modes. First one is forward blocking mode. Now what is forward blocking mode? Now you can see in these characteristics, up till the point where your SCR starts conducting, from here to here, your SCR is not conducting, it is blocking the forward current. You have forward bias the anode and cathode terminals, but still it is blocking the forward current, it is not allowing the current to flow. So this area from where your SCR is not conducting in forward direction, from this point to this point, this is called your forward blocking mode. The SCR is working in forward blocking mode. It is blocking the forward current and it is not allowing the current to flow through it. So this is forward blocking mode. Now in this mode your SCR is like a an open switch, and it gives large amount of impedance. It shows large amount of impedance and no current flows through the load. So this is forward blocking mode. Now another is forward conduction mode. Now the moment your SCR start conducting, after this point your voltage reduces and current rises. So at this moment your now what is written here, forward conduction mode on state. When your SCR gets turned on, when your SCR gets turned on, that mode of functioning of SCR is called forward conduction mode. Now your SCR has turned on. Similarly, your in reverse direction, your SCR does not allow the current to flow. So we say that the SCR is in reverse blocking mode. It blocks the current in reverse direction. So these are the three modes: forward blocking mode, forward conduction mode, and reverse blocking mode. We have already discussed these things. So in forward conduction mode, the voltage across the thyristor reduces to 1 to 2 volt only. Before conducting, the all the voltage which you have applied across the anode and cathode, that appears across the SCR. But when it starts conducting, only a small amount of voltage of the order of 1 to 2 volt is appeared, gets dropped across the SCR, because its impedance or resistance has reduced to very small value, that may be less than 1 ohm, that may be less than 1 ohm, and the current is limited only by the load. जो आपने external load लगाया हुआ था, resistance लगा रखा था, current is limited only by load impedance or load resistance. Now the thyristor acts as a closed switch. Now in forward blocking mode, the thyristor was working as open switch, but in forward conduction mode, it is working as closed switch. Now in reverse blocking mode, we have already discussed, your SCR does not conduct, it blocks the current, it does not allow the current to flow through it. But if you go on increasing the voltage, ultimately your junction J1 and J3 will get breakdown, and you may damage your SCR permanently. You may damage your SCR permanently. So because there is large amount of power loss in that case, if you go on increasing the voltage, a large amount of leakage current will flow, so combined power loss will be very high, so it may lead to damage of SCR. So you should not increase the voltage in reverse direction so that it may conduct. Now what are the characteristics when we connect, when we forward bias the gate to cathode terminal? When we forward bias the gate to cathode junction, what will happen now? We have already discussed during the this working during the discussion of working of SCRs, what happens when we give gate current to SCR. Now what will happen? A current will flow between gate and cathode. Electrons will move from N to P layer, and these will cross the J2 junction. It will start conducting. Now when this junction J2, these electrons cross the junction J2, large amount of charge carriers cross the junction J2, it ultimately vanish. It ultimately vanishes, and there does not exist any junction J2, and junction J1 and J3 are already forward biased. So it starts conducting. So at lower anode voltages, if we have connected this gate current, gate power supply, and gate current is flowing through this SCR at very small amount of anode voltage, your SCR starts conducting. So how your characteristics will be then? This is the setup we have used. Earlier we left this gate terminal open. In earlier characteristics we left this gate terminal open, but now we have connected a power supply across this gate terminal also. Now what will happen now? Earlier the gate current was zero. Gate current was zero. So your SCR was conducting at this voltage, forward breakover voltage. At forward breakover voltage, your SCR was starting to conduct. So this was the forward breakover voltage. Now with application of gate current, we have given some gate amount of gate current. Your SCR starts conducting at smaller voltage. Now you can see this V1 is lesser than VPO. It is lesser than VPO. Your SCR has started conducting. Now your characteristic will go from here to here. It will not go beyond this. It will go here to here. It will start conducting at this moment. So at lower amount of voltage, it will turn on the SCR. Now if I increase the gate current even further, I increase the gate current even further from this circuit, I increase the gate current. Now it will start conducting at even lower voltages, even lower this anode voltage. So my SCR is now conducting at this voltage. This is voltage V2. Now this V2 is lesser than even V1. Now if I further increase gate current to IG3, it will again turn on the SCR at even lower voltage V3. So IG3 is greater than IG2. IG2 is greater than IG1. So IG1 is the smallest current and IG3 is the largest amount of current. So when current is large, gate current is large, voltage will be low. Gate current will be low, voltage will be large. So V3 is less than V2 and V2 is less than V1. So we can see with application of gate current, we can turn on the SCR at lower anode voltages. Now reverse characteristics are same as we have already discussed in the case when gate was left open. So these are not to be discussed again. Now we left two type of currents, that was latching current and holding current. In earlier characteristics we left these two currents, latching current and holding current. Now what is latching current and what is holding current? We are coming to these characteristics again. Now latching current is the amount of current, the minimum value of current. This latching current, this is the latching current, IL. This is the minimum amount of anode current which an SCR should attain during turn on process, so that it can remain in turn on condition when you uh, when you disconnect your gate and you make the gate current to zero value. So latching current is the minimum value of anode current which an SCR should attain during turn on process, so that it may remain in turn on condition even after removal of the gate current. तो इसका मीनिंग क्या हुआ कि लैचिंग करंट वो मिनिमम अमाउंट ऑफ एनोड करंट है, एनोड के अंदर कम से कम इतना करंट फ्लो करना चाहिए ताकि जब आप गेट करंट को हटा दो उसके बाद भी आपका एससीआर टर्न ऑन कंडीशन में ही रहे। अगर आपका एससीआर का जो करंट है ड्यूरिंग टर्न ऑन इस लैचिंग करंट से कम रहा, तो जब आप गेट करंट को हटाओगे तो आपका एससीआर वापस आपका टर्न ऑफ पोजीशन में चला जाएगा, टर्न ऑन पोजीशन में नहीं रहेगा। सो दिस इज द मिनिमम अमाउंट ऑफ एनोड करंट विच इट शुड अटेन इन टर्न ऑन कंडीशन in during turn on process to keep it in turn on position even after removal of gate current. So latching current is associated with turn on process. So you should maintain a current during turn on to minimum IL value so that it may remain in turn on position. Now what is then holding current? Now your SCR has turned on, you are using this SCR for some time. Now you want to turn this SCR off. You want to switch off your load and you want to turn off this SCR. Now holding current is the minimum value of anode current below which your SCR current should fall so that it may turn off. The SCR may turn off. So what is the meaning? The minimum value of anode current. SCR के अंदर से जो करंट फ्लो कर रहा है वो एक होल्डिंग करंट की वैल्यू से जब तक आप उस करंट को कम नहीं करोगे तो आपका SCR टर्न ऑफ नहीं होगा। ड्यूरिंग कॉम्यूटेशन वी हैव टू टर्न ऑफ योर SCRs। कॉम्यूटेशन आप लोगों ने पढ़ा होगा, वी विल डिस्कस लेटर ऑन इन सम अदर लेक्चर व्हाट इज कॉम्यूटेशन। सो holding current is the minimum value of anode current or SCR current below which your current should fall to turn the SCR off। तो SCR को बंद करने के लिए आपको SCR के करंट को कम से कम होल्डिंग करंट से नीचे लेके जाना ताकि वो बंद हो सके, आपका SCR टर्न ऑफ हो सके। So holding current is basically associated with turn off process. Your latching current is associated with turn on process and holding current is associated with turn off process. Now gate triggering. Gate triggering means the method of turning the SCR on. Triggering is the method which is used to turn the SCR on. There are many types of methods through which we can turn on the SCR, but gate is the reliable and efficient and simplest method to turn on the SCR. So gate triggering means using the gate terminal to turn on the SCR. So this is a simple, reliable and efficient method. Other things we have already discussed. Now the value of gate current which we use is between typical value of gate current is 20 to 200 milliamperes. This is, you can see how small amount of gate currents are required to turn on the SCR. So small amount of currents are required to turn on the SCR through gate. These are the things which we have already discussed. P to P is flooded with electrons when we give the, these things are already discussed, we have already discussed, so no need. Now the thing is, if the gate current is removed, anode to cathode current remains unaffected. We have already discussed when gate current is removed, once your junction J2 gets breakdown, Once your junction J2 gets breakdown, now that junction does not exist. Now if your SCR has turned on and now you remove the gate current from the circuit, because now J2 does not exist, it cannot block the current again. Understand? It cannot block the current again as there is no junction J2 there. So if you remove the gate current from the circuit, your SCR will continue to conduct. It will remain in on condition when you will remove the gate current from the circuit, because junction J2 is not there. This is written here also. Reverse bias junction J2 is no longer exist when you have uh, given sufficient amount of gate current and it has broke down your junction J2. Now junction J2 does not exist, it has vanished. So as junction J2 is not there, so if you remove the gate current from the circuit, your SCR will keep working in turn on condition. It will remain on condition, in on condition. Now latching current and holding current we have already discussed. Minimum value of anode current which an SCR must attain during turn-on process to maintain conduction when gate signal is removed. Well, we have discussed these latching current and holding current again. You can read from this screen also. Same thing I have already discussed. Latching current is associated with, but you have to remember latching current is associated with turn-on process and holding current is associated with turn-off process. You have to remember this. You have to understand this. Now there is an analogy called two transistor analogy. Now we have tried to understand the working of SCR by some theoretical facts, by using theoretical facts and some theoretical principles. But there is another method also to discuss to understand the working of an SCR. That is called two transistor analogy. Now this was the SCR we have already discussed. This is the construction of SCR. But for understanding of SCR in transistor analogy, two transistor analogy, we will assume we will assume that we are going to cut this SCR in two parts. Like I will show you here. Now through these points, I am going to cut this SCR through these points. Now what will happen? You can see this P, N and P. I have cut it from these points. Now I get two parts of SCR. One is P and P. This P, N and P, and other is N, P, N. So this P and P is here, this N P N is here, and as this N and this N, these two parts, I have cut this N layer in two parts. One is left part and right hand part. These were joined together earlier. Here in this SCR, these are joined together metallurgically. These are joined together. So we will assume these are joined electrically here. These are joined electrically here because these were joined earlier also. N and N and P and P. Left side of P and right side of P were joined together metallurgically. Now we will assume these are joined together electrically. So these two N and these two P are joined together. Now you can see these forms two transistors. One is PNP transistor T1 here, this TR1 PNP transistor, and another transistor TR2. This is another transistor TR2. So we are left with two transistors. One is PNP transistor and other is NPN transistor. Now you can see the base of this PNP transistor, the base of this PNP transistor is connected to the collector of this NPN transistor. Now these anode terminal and cathode terminals are the emitters. These are emitters, anode and cathode are emitters. So this is base terminal of PNP and this is collector terminal of NPN. So base of PNP is connected to collector of NPN terminal, NPN transistor. Similarly, base of NPN transistor is connected to this collector of PNP transistor. So this base is connected to PNP, the collector of PNP transistor. Base of this NPN is connected to collector of this PNP transistor. So this gate terminal G1, this was earlier connected to P terminal, P layer. This is here also, this is connected to this base, this collector of PNP and base of this PNP, base of PNP. So we are left with two transistors, one is PNP and one is NPN. Base of one is connected to collector of other. So it forms a feedback loop. Basically it forms a feedback loop. When we forward bias this anode and cathode junctions, terminals, if I connect positive here and negative here, as there is no gate current available still, so no anode current will flow, no load current will flow through the circuit, because there is no base current or collector current here. But if I connect this gate terminal to the positive terminal of the supply and I forward bias this gate and cathode terminal, a base current will flow, base current IB will flow through this transistor this TR2, this transistor is TR2. So a base current will flow in this transistor TR2. This will lead to a production of collector current in this transistor terminal TR2. When we have connected base, we have given base current to this transistor, it will develop some collector current in this transistor. Now this collector current of this transistor is base current of this transistor, is the base current of this transistor. So it will ultimately produce some collector current in this transistor, PNP transistor. So now collector current of PNP transistor and base current of this transistor TR2 are added, and again it is fed to base of transistor TR2. Then it will give rise to more anode, this collector current. It will pass through this base of this transistor TR2. It will again increase the collector current of transistor TR1, and it will again being fed to this base of this transistor, and so on. A cycle will continue. This is a feedback loop. It will go on increasing. So ultimately what will happen is these two transistors, I should clear this first. These two transistors will come in saturation mode. These transistors, transistor TR1 and transistor TR2, these will go in saturation mode. So when the transistors go in saturation mode, they act as close switch. They act as close switch. You already know, in saturation region, your transistors act as close switch. So when close, they will act as close switch. They will give a very low impedance to the circuit. These will provide very low impedance to the circuit. So a current will flow between anode to cathode. So current will start flowing through anode and cathode. So by this two transistor analogy, we can also understand the working of an SCR by assuming this SCR as two transistors. So we have discussed This because there is a feedback loop in these two transistors, so ultimately they will go in saturation region. So in saturation region they will start conducting. So this was the two transistor analogy. All these things which I have already discussed are written here. So this is regenerative feedback loop is there in these two transistors. So when your SCR starts conducting, or you can say your both transistors start conducting, the ultimately the resistance or impedance of the SCR or impedance of these two transistors get reduced to very very small value, that is of the order of less than 1 ohm. So impedance is reduced. So this was all about my today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed that lecture, and I will continue my lecture in next videos also. So thanks for watching. Thanks.